Hello, everyone. My name is Gary Fowler, and it is great to be here again today. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've done 17 companies, and I've been involved in two unicorns. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. Today, I'm the CEO, president, co-founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in Palo Alto, California. Love artificial intelligence and quantum computing. So it's with great pleasure. So Srikanth, I've met over time. We've been on a number of panels together, different events. He's an incredible attorney, lawyer, barrister. He's got a background from Citibank all the way to having his international arbitration and counsel for Fortune 500 companies. So, with that, I'd like to bring him on.
Thank you, Gary. That was such a generous introduction, so to speak. Let me narrate the process, so to speak, that I encountered when I landed Citibank. So I would like to start with an anecdotal experience, Gary, if I may. So I was right out of school and. Being one of the meritless candidates, you generally get picked up in Citibank, uh, right? And I landed in the treasury sales team, and this was when the dollar was trading at about the barrel prices. Let me put it this way. I mean, let me not give you an Indian context. The barrel of oil was trading at about $160, if you remember, and that was wow. That was such a great period to be in, or rather, a difficult period to be in. So what had happened was we landed in the treasury sales team, and we were expected to sell derivative instruments, which was basically currency derivatives, and these currency derivatives were being sold to I would say the large companies, so to speak. Citibank, it's ancient history now, so I can actually quote Citibank now. So Citibank has a history of making a profit in every deal that they make, and it's quite natural. It's a commercial bank, isn't it? So they have a history, and what had happened was first day, first job, and my sales was $10 million that I sold, and I was hooray. And my there is a particular term in banking that is called CVA, which is the profit that we have made, and that was about $100,000. Now, day two, I sold about $15 million, and I ended up losing that $15 million.
Well, you
Uh,
lost 15 million. What happened?
so that's the story. So the CVA was obviously $150,000 negative, right? So I was quite squirmished, and I went up to my boss. Incidentally, happened to be the my namesake. He was also Srikanth, and he said, "Look, are you a new entrant?" So he didn't even recognize me in the first place. That's the extent to which Citibank was built. And then he said, "Look, it's normal life. This is how Citibank works." So this kind of churned the everyday life. So you live as an entrepreneur, you live every day, don't you? And Citibank gives you a experience of living every day. So
Well, the other thing,
I
Srikanth, they gave you the experience because it wasn't your money to lose. You know what I mean? I mean, if you were losing 15 million, you'd be sick. You know what I mean? But for a bank that's got billions and billions of dollars, it's a whole deal, and that's part of being a bank, isn't it?
But my salary was being paid on the on the profits that I make of the deal. So remember, I did have, I was a stakeholder in the loss or the profit that I made in that particular deal. So so let's not forget that. So what had happened was, eventually my boss, who was my namesake, he quit, and he moved on to a large enterprise, one of the largest enterprises in India, called Reliance, and he moved on there as a CFO. And I had a great shoes to fill in. I had a pretty much a 12 or a 13 size UK shoe to actually fill in when I was an actually a 10. So what had happened was, I had to tell the squirmish new interns or the new onboardees to actually say that, look, it's easy, it's okay to lose $15 million and $10 million. So that kind of shaped the entrepreneurial attitude in me. I think that was a tipping point, so to speak.
So
So
now you got paid commissions. You didn't have any salary.
I did have a fixed salary, but commissions were a bulk of it, and commissions were humongous. I mean, we are talking about, the movie margin call kind of commissions. Um, so um, so let me not disclose how much commissions that I made, and how much commissions did I lose. But we had people who made profits, and who did end up losing money. Then after the stint with Citibank, I went on to Daimler India Commercial Vehicles, which was basically a German entity, and which was looking to operate in India, and they were looking to expand in India, and they wanted a treasury lead, and they found me to be the right counsel for it, because I had the legal experience of bringing in foreign money, and I brought in close to $234 million in India, and with all the buses that you see, the Scania slash the Daimler buses that you see, I would say I have contributed a little bit towards that. So circa
What happened
2015.
now, Srikanth? What happened to Chakra Venture Partners? Because you were a controller there, right? You worked at that place.
Yes.
So what happened there? You were there for a couple of years and almost 3 years, right? So is that when you got your taste for venture, or how did that work?
No, as a matter of fact, Gary, I got my taste of venture during Citibank. I mean, Citibank taught me. I think there wouldn't be a better school. At the moment, I do not know what the inner functionings of Citibank is. But at that particular point of time, when there was a crisis and when we were firefighting, I think Citibank was the best school to actually to teach you entrepreneurial skills. So with this experience of legally counseling, Citibank, as well as acting as a counsel for Daimler India Commercial Vehicles, I uh, I wanted to enter into a domain uh, where I could combine legal experience with experience in investing, and that was a thing which I wanted to explore. And during that particular process, what had happened, Gary, was Chakra evolved, and much to my surprise, there were a lot of high net worth families in India who did not. Let me give you a historical background. So 2014, 2015 is when India was seeing a surge in startup investments, and all these family offices, which were basically run by mom and pop and so on and so forth, which had made their billions, and which was basically a Walmart of sorts, right? So they felt that, look, there was something that was missing, and much alike to what they are doing to Bitcoin right now. By the way, they are actually having conversations with me and saying that, look, somebody made so much in NFT. Why can't we make it? That's a very absurd or an abstract question to pose. But what had happened was, in 2015, there evolved a lot of family offices which want to explore alternative strategies. Let me put it that way. And when they were exploring alternative strategy, they were searching for someone who has got a the legal experience, and b the treasury experience, the whole gamut of managing funds and so on and so forth. And I got into a relationship with them, and I happened to shoot down. I'm not proud to say this, Gary, but I happened to shoot down more possible unicorns than what could have been produced. And this is with utmost remorse that I'm making this particular statement. The unicorns that you see right now in India, especially in India, uh, could have been a lot more if I had not shot down. And you know how these family offices work. They go by the solar council. They go by the person who they don't take a second advice, and so on and so forth. But I made some good strategic calls for them, and they liked it. And what happened during that particular process was, they said, "Look, we like the way that you work. We like how you deal with staff, and I'm not sure if you have watched this particular movie called Michael Clayton, where George Clooney plays the role of an attorney and so on and so forth. So they wanted me to be the Michael Clayton and the investment manager and the margin call guy. Imagine how big a job description that could be. So somebody who could clean in house
I would
and
hope your paycheck would be the same. That's when it's interesting, right?
Yeah, so this is what happened, and from a paycheck perspective, I do have my grievances. That's a different issue. Family offices are generally conservative, and what had happened was, now I receive day to day. What happens is, there is a cold mail that is being sent to a particular AIF. Let me not call it AIF. There is a venture fund. There is a cold mail which is sent, right? We never know who's behind that particular cold mail. The person who has opened it, we don't know who's opened it. Uh, and I have iterated that in my shows with you earlier, that I'm the one who opens it. So it may sound like a Breaking Bad code, but I'm the one who knocks. So what happened was, I evaluated these investments and I presented them to the board and so on and so forth. And we made quite a few successful investments, which I checked with the family office if they are comfortable disclosing the investments that they've made. They're not quite comfortable because they want to do a Series A and Series B. So it was in to the extent that I can disclose, it was in healthcare, it was in education, it was in tech, again tech, diversifying into different aspects, and so on and so forth. Now I'm bombarded with calls asking me about NFT.
Now,
I do not know.
when you're going down through it, so NFTs are hot, but how do you get the loyalty of those family offices, Srikanth? How do you get to the point? That's, the audience wants to hear about the inner workings. How do you get to the point where somebody trusts you? Where does that come from? And how do you get an introduction to those folks?
So this is what happened. So from an introductory perspective, I think they find you rather than you finding them. Um, a good family office generally finds you instead of you finding them. And this is what they will do. They will give you a particular taster for you to evaluate, and they have their own internal committee meetings, and they evaluate. So I do not know if I made the I did make a right decision. So the first investment idea that came through to me, I shot it down on multiple reasons, and I gave my reasons. I gave the reasons as to why I'm shooting it down, and the family surprisingly took only my advice. And a newbie who doesn't even know how the family works, who's not even acquainted with the family's portfolio and so on and so forth, basically tarnished every. I mean, I was evaluating the financial, I was evaluating the legal, and then I was saying this is a pro, this is a con, and there are more cons than pros. So they give you a taster. This is how they typically do it. And once they give you a taster,
So
they have a very
they were
sinister.
testing you. They were testing you to see what you had to say. Yeah. Testing.
This is where the sinister part of family offices come in. They give you another taster, and they say that, look, why don't you evaluate this? And they know that that's a failed model, and you will obviously be apprehensive, right, when you've shot down the first one, and you want to give a yes to the next one because you want to lead the deal. I shot that one down too with the same reasoning that I had for the first one, and the family was quite impressed. And I think if I have to share my secret, the mantra of success, this would be that. I mean, family offices appreciate honesty, they appreciate sincerity, hard work, everything is there, but the echelon is honesty. You have to be honest, and you have to represent the true facts. You can't have any side dealings, and you can't look over certain facts, and so on and so forth. So, from a family office perspective, I went on to from a family office which was dealing with, let's say, um, uh, $100 million. I went to a family office which was dealing with $4 billion, and I went to a family office which was dealing with a consortium. As a consortium, I don't want to name them. As a consortium, they had about $8 billion under them, and this was quite a mighty proposition that they had. And you have different challenges that you need to fight, right? They have their old timers that they rely on. Then this newbie comes in, and I'm going to be an old timer soon. So I need to train the next generation or the newbie. So they also evaluate on many parameters. As a matter of fact, Gary, you would be surprised as to how family offices take decisions on instinct and in-person discussions slash the way that you appear, and so on and so forth. So the youngsters who are pitching to a family office, my advice to them would be, dress smart, look sharp, and turn up sharp. uh, the
Well, that's a
reason
lot
being.
different. That's a shortcut. That's a lot different from the West. In fact, Silicon Valley, it's actually opposite. If you dress up,
True.
they think that you're not the person, that you're so old that you're not going to fit in with the lifestyle. And so they're kind of like, the best case scenario, you wear a pair of jeans and a like a mock turtleneck or a t-shirt. It's not normal. And you wear sneakers. So there are a lot of
True.
cultural differences. So we got to be aware of those cultural differences. And the other thing is, they expect people from Silicon Valley to dress in the t-shirts because you're not from Silicon Valley if you don't. How many people with suits and ties do you see, in Silicon Valley? Very, very few. They call them the
And
suits.
they also assume you to be a con artist, coming from NY, if you dress up in a suit
Well,
and so
they
on and so
they
forth.
look at people as different. They're not part of the club. Essentially, they're not one of the gang.
True. True. But my advice to people who are pitching in India, especially South Asia, let me put it this way. Silicon Valley is one part, and then you have South Asia, right?
Mhm.
South Asia, they expect you to dress up quite well, but that's not a primary point that I'm trying to make. So you were asking me a question: how did I get an entry? How did I get the confidence, and so on and so forth? I think the same goes with the startups who are pitching to a family office. They give you a taster, and you may be expecting a valuation of 100x or 150x and so on and so forth, but what they will do is they will try to delay the whole process by quoting that we have our own bureaucratic process, which they don't really have.
They don't have
uh,
it.
yeah, so I evaluate, I send the, we have a meeting in the afternoon, and we close it off. So there's not much bureaucratic. So this is an insider tip, so to speak.
Well, that's really
uh,
interesting. Because I've heard that too. They have a lot of bureaucracy. That's very interesting. And then, how do the family offices, Srikanth, work? We got about 10 minutes left, and I want to go through some things. One is, how do the family offices work together? Do they work? Did you talk to other family offices when you were doing that or not? Were they
Yes.
working
So
together?
when I said that there was a consortium of $8 billion, so word spreads quite quickly in a family office as compared to a venture fund. A venture fund, against a venture fund, actually think that they're rivals, right? Family offices, on the other side, they actually think they are partners. So what happens is, look, I've invested in, I'm evaluating this particular opportunity. Would you like to hitch on this particular opportunity? Is something that family offices do very, very normally over a drink. At the moment, it may not be over a drink, but it may just be a casual conversation, right? They go to an art gallery, and things are back to normal over here in India. They go to an art gallery, they go to a museum, they they say, wanna by the way, the moment you start the conversation, by the way, the family office is actually talking about you. So you need to be very careful about when the by the way comes in. uh, the by the way should essentially come in when there is a large group of people and so on and so forth, right? And I think it's a misapprehension that the startups should meet all the family offices, or rather, all the decision makers in all the family offices. The moment you get an entry into one family office, I think your life is set, because that family office has so much pull, or so much, I would say, uh, uh, so much of influence with other family offices that you don't need to circulate your pitch deck, or rather, redo the whole pitch again and again with other families, as such, because they'll sell it for you. And that's the best part, right? When a family sells it for you, you have the confidence of the family as such. So I was part of the legal structuring of a particular a family office, which sold to again a very corporate setup, which was funded by venture capitalists. And it so happened that this particular family office was happy with the exit, but what they were not happy was they were not happy with the fact that, look, I'm not exiting to a family office,
Hmm.
I'm not giving it away to a family office. They were getting phenomenal valuation. I think that was the only thing that persuaded them to sell it off to a venture capital fund. And remember that these family offices are also partners in the venture capital fund. So they do have vested interest in that, right? Without getting into the legal regulations of that. So they have their own vested interest in that. So how they do it is they have a family office, they have an investment in the fund, they do have a fund, and then they also put a part of the money, not a part of the money, a substantial part of the money into various venture capitalists around the world, right? So that's a way of diversification that they do. And unfortunately or fortunately, I'm the one who writes the term sheets slash the legal documents. So I know what are the negotiations that they make between, and you wouldn't believe, Gary, on such petty terms that they negotiate with each other when they have agreed on the valuation and so on and so forth. One of the smoothest conversation that I had between two family offices slash sorry between two investor and investee was a 2 month process. This was
Wow.
the smoothest.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
in Silicon Valley, the
So,
decisions made.
Srikanth, what takes so much time? Is it that perceived bureaucracy or what is it?
It's not
Are
about
they just
bureaucracy.
slow? Are they just slow?
No, it's a psychological trauma that they want to give you, right? I mean, you at that particular. I do not know, Gary, whether I should be saying this. I mean, let me rephrase that. Okay, redact that part. Uh, it's about the psychological game that they play. And the psychological game that they play is wait, they'll reduce in the valuation, maybe we'll get a better deal, and so on and so forth. Whereas the venture capital funds are in a hurry because they have the next quarter to begin with, and they have the next half yearly to begin with, they have the MIS to submit, and so on and so forth. So family offices are a little, how do you speak? How do you say? They are a little, I wouldn't say reluctant, but they are a little, they take the upper hand, and they, from a game theoretical perspective, they, I don't think they want a win-win situation. I think it's always a win-lose situation that they aim for, insofar as the term sheet is concerned.
Hmm.
But insofar as the long term is concerned, of course, it's a win-win. So it transpires from a win-lose to a win-win situation in the long term.
And what happens if you go back to them for a second deal? Do they treat you better the second time? Fair, better terms?
Um, no, unfortunately, it depends on how you have performed in the first round, and it depends on um, you know the best part about a family office is there's this one guy or one person who you are basically reporting into. And when I say you as an investee are reporting into, you as a startup are reporting into. Now you need to get that person in good books, because that person is basically the person who's whispering behind the ears of the family, right?
Got it. And
So
these are like trusted advisors, yeah?
yeah, and in most cases the best part is in a family office, it happens to be a number of two or one in most cases. And I happen to be with family offices where I'm just the one, and they're happy. I mean, I assume that they're happy with me, but I have whatever propositions that I've made,
Now, Srikanth,
and
I have a question for you. Did you become friends with any of these family offices? Did you develop relationships with them? Do they trust you that much? And, is it one of these things? Let's go to lunch. Let's talk. Do you ever get to that level with them?
yes, it's with a motive, isn't it? Always a lunch meeting is with a motive. So I know exactly
Not
what
just
the
lunch meetings,
family.
but I mean hanging around with them. Do they invite you to go to their homes or go out on their yachts or anything like that? Do you have those kind of relationships with them?
Absolutely. So I've been on vacation with the family, but I know inherently the vacays are with a motive. I know somewhere in the vacay there's going to be a conversation. By the way, I came across. What do you think?
I
So.
got it.
The by the way that occurs between the families, it occurs between me and the family officers as well. So I'm quite wary about it, and the families know that I'm quite wary about it.
Wow, that's amazing. Listen, we've got 4 minutes coming up. Tell me in the closing thoughts and the kind of things you're working on today and how do people reach out to you? Srikant? Well, looks like we've lost Srikant. Anyhow, my name is Gary Fowler. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. So if you need to have Srikant's contact information, you're in India. He is a global lawyer. Just let me know. I'd be happy to help out. So I'd like to say stay happy, stay healthy, and keep smiling. And this is to the next show. Thank you very much.